See, I'm just like you, but I've made one decision that put me in God's eyes as a righteous man, even though I'm a wicked man. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Robert Payne, and this is Wicked Man. Those of you that are new to us, you can check out more of our videos on the YouTube channel, Wicked Man Ministries. We've been doing this since about December of 21, right? Yeah, 21. Trying to think what year is this again? I'm sorry, it's been a long week. But we're here just talking about different things about God, about Christ, about things that sometimes get mixed up, some things that get confused, told wrong, believed wrong, and a lot of people start using these mistaken beliefs to decide they can't believe in the whole thing. And that's where we're coming in here. As I've said in my videos before, I'm not some super genius. I'm not some person who is better than you. I'm not acting out of, oh, you're all horrible people and I'm this good person you should model after. I am just a wicked man. But I have seen these questions and I've asked these questions too many times to not say, I'm going to study, I'm going to look at the answers. And when I started finding answers, I decided it needed to be shared. And that's what we're here doing now. If you're watching, I am asking you to do a couple different things. One is please comment, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on the email, whether it's on the YouTube channel. Please comment. Let me know what you're thinking, what you think of the whole thing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask those. Also, I'm asking you to do one other thing, and that is share. If each of you share with one person this video, and in the next video, those people watch and they go, let's share. Before we know it, everybody will have seen these things. And there are people out there that need to know this. If you know somebody that needs to know this, or you think they would like to be able to know this stuff, to be able to share these thoughts themselves, please share it. Please, if you don't want to share it to the world on your public thing, share it privately to somebody. Say, hey, I watched this thing. I think you should see it. It's really cool. Please share. We're just trying to get the word out as much as possible because you never know who that person might know that really needs this stuff. So here we go. Today we're still talking about, as we started last time, we're still talking about God and creation and how you can believe that even though so many Christians nowadays are starting to accept a lot of the things that scientists say because they don't know that they don't have to. And they don't know there's logic and reason. I did myself forever. My thoughts were, well, okay, it may have happened that way, but God did it. That's not necessarily something I need to lean on. God did it. The process is immaterial. God did it. If I start with my premise there, then everything else makes sense. If I start with it happened with this process, and I go back to try to find the beginning, as you're going to see today, and as you might have seen from the last video, you can't get back to the beginning without a God. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. Last video, I told you that the Creator had to be a personal being. And so I'm going to explain more about that as we go on. Today, we're going to talk about God had to be, the Creator had to be a personal being that made a decision, made a choice, decided to move things. We talked about Aristotle's unmoved mover last time, how there's an uncaused causer. There has to be a being that isn't caused in order to cause us. Otherwise, who caused him? And then who caused the one that caused him? Then who caused the one that who caused the one, who caused the one, who caused the one that caused him? You go on forever. And we talked about infinite regression is an illogical impossibility. All philosophers know this. All mathematicians know this. They may put these things in their formulas just to try out some theoretical ideas, but they know that infinite regression, meaning going backwards forever, is an impossibility. You have to have that termination point. You have that point where it stops, and this is the ultimate beginning. That's why we said that there has to be, for the natural world to exist, there has to be an existence outside of the natural world that can cause the natural world without needing to be caused itself. Now, that doesn't make sense to us because we see everything on a timeline. It has to start, it has to end, and we don't see how that can actually function. But understand, if we're here, this has to be here. It has to be able to make us so that the natural world could exist. There has to be a beginner of time, meaning he can't be constrained by time because he made time. You can't make time if you're already involved in time. There had to be the space that we exist in, meaning he had to be outside of that space to be able to create the space that we exist in. He had to be outside of the natural world to be able to create the natural world, to be able to not have to follow the rules that exist in this natural world, like I talked about last time, the first law of thermodynamics, or is it the second? Sorry, the law of thermodynamics that says that nothing can come from nothing. No thing comes from nothing. See, many times we're describing the beginning of the universe as just a bunch of nothingness, and then something happened. Well, if there's absolutely nothingness, I mean no time, no space for the nothingness to occur in. Nothing is there before the Creator put it there, meaning he had to be outside of that to do that, okay? If you don't want to say it's the Christian God, that's fine. We're going to get to that. But please accept that there has to be a beginner for there to be a beginning. But we talked about it being personal. A personal is this. Now, I've watched many lectures and debates and things like that on this, and I watched a debate with William Lane Craig and a guy that I cannot remember, and he had a British accent, and I've heard, I think it's Frank Turek says they all just sound smarter because they got a British accent. They automatically sound smarter. And this guy, William Lane Craig, was saying that, the Creator had to be timeless, spaceless, immaterial, and personal. And this guy said, oh, you know what? Well, I think it's just a computer. And he said, well, so William Lane Craig says, well, a computer has to be made. He goes, not this one. So, yeah, but a computer has to be programmed. He said, nope, not this one. And he said, well, but a computer has to have a beginning. It has to come from somewhere. There has to be a designer, a creator of the computer. And the guy said, nope, not this one. Nope, not this one. And so William Lane Craig very wisely said, basically what you're saying is you're taking all the attributes of God, timeless, spaceless, immaterial, and you're just calling it a computer. But you're basically describing God, but instead of saying God, you're saying it's a computer. So you've got a God, you just don't want it to be the Christian God, so you're just saying it's a computer. You're still saying that there's a something that created no thing. Once again, it would have to be outside of this natural world. And here's the issue. It'd have to be personal. Computers don't decide. Computers do what they're programmed to do. I was at a lecture one time and it had just had a bad weekend. Almost didn't go. And I went anyway. And while I was there, they gave away some stuff as a door prize. And just so happens I won the grand prize. And I was like, what? For doing nothing. I asked a stupid question, but the guy said, okay, here you go. I said whoever asked the first question was going to get the full package. And I got the full package. I went there with no money in my pocket. Wasn't going to buy any of the stuff that they were having for sale. And I got the whole package anyway, just for asking a stupid question, but being the first one to ask the question. So I thought it was kind of odd, but I went up to him after and said, hey man, let me just tell you, I appreciate this so much. I just had such a horrible weekend. Almost didn't come, have no money in my pocket. Just decided to come and hang out with my friends that are here anyway, just to see what was going on, hear what anybody had to say. And he says, well, man, I'm glad the universe is taking care of you. And I said, well, somebody is. And I left it at that. No, this was not a Christian lecture. So when he said the universe is taking care of you, see, this is another thing we hear often. The universe gets credited. Mother Nature gets credited. Nature itself gets credited for a lot of creation and a lot of things. But once again, it seems to be that they know there's something that has to do this stuff. So they want it to behave this way, but just not be this way. It's the thing. Let's see. Let me try to find a word that's right. It seems they know that it's there, but it can't be this without something being like that. They want to get this, but they don't want it to get it from that. They just want to create something, even though it does every single thing that we describe God's doing, even though it exists in the exact same way that God exists, we describe existing, but they want it to be this impersonal, doesn't come to you and tell you what to do or what not to do. kind of being. And I can see the draw in that, not having rules, not having someone say, you got to do this or you got to do that, or there's consequences when you don't. Imagine every unruly child would love to have mom and dad not give them rules. And that's kind of where we're at. So they're giving this abstract, non-thinking entity all the attributes of God. But we talked about it being personal. Personal means this. It has to be a deciding being. A being that said, I'm going to choose to do this, or I'm going to choose to do that. Now, some people say, no, it doesn't have to be, but let me tell you why. It's infinite regression is the answer to that. That's why I started with infinite regression last week. If I've got a canvas and I've got paint here, and I've got a brush sitting on the palette just waiting, and the brush falls and hits the canvas, goes right across, nice, beautiful, just like stroke across, and you're like, wow, that brush across there, just a beautiful piece of artwork. Like, that is amazing. That brush just fell and hit that. Now, that could happen, but you'd have to ask what caused the brush to fall, and then what caused the thing that caused the brush to fall, and then what caused the thing that caused the thing that caused the brush to fall. So once again, you're back to infinite regression. But if an artist comes up and sees the canvas and picks up the brush and goes, I'm going to do this right here, and stop. Same beautiful brush stroke. Same brush, same paint, same canvas. But you don't have to ask how it happened. A deciding being said, I'm going to choose to do this. Now, this situation, you could say, well, where'd the artist come from? But that's where you always go back to God. Where does God come from? But once again, for us to be here, he has to be out here. There has to be that existence outside of ours that makes ours, but doesn't need to be made itself. It has to be that uncaused causer. It has to be Aristotle's unmoved mover. It really has to be. There's no other thing. They're getting into quantum mechanics and things like that, and you'll hear dark matter, string theory, all sorts of other terms for these things, but they never seem to go back to the very first day one. They don't get to that termination point. Dark matter, quantum mechanics, quantum string theories, all these things, those things still exist on an infinitesimal small scale, but size doesn't change existence. You can be this big, you can be this big. You still had to come into existence. So I don't care how microscopic they get on the quantum realm being smaller and smaller, 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 smaller. It doesn't matter how small you get, it still had to have a beginning. And if it can't be caused, if it's got to just keep happening and then this cause and this mistake and this mistake and this accident, these different things caused it, you got to go back to that beginning point. And with ours, we just say, no, it was God. Now, a lot of people use this thing they call gap theory. They say, oh, you got this gap in your knowledge. You know this happened, but you can't figure it out, so you just stick God in the middle there. The issue is not that we are sticking God in there. We're going all the way back to there has to be a beginner. There has to be a creator. That's not just filling in the gaps with God. Because if that's what we're doing, then isn't that what you're doing as well? When you say it was quantum field theory that, and I don't even want to go into all that stuff for you, but if you want to start going into those things, you start tossing out, these microscopic, these minuscule, can't even see them existence before they started coming together and forming the universe. I think that's what's happening. You've got a gap as well, and you're just filling it with other theories. See, we look at life and we see evidence of God. We see that God involves himself in our life. We know that when God was talking to Job, and Job said, why did you do all this? And God said, Job, where were you when I created the universe? When I spoke the stars into existence, where were you? So he's trying to say, you were not existent. I was here, making the plan, putting it all in motion. And that's in the book of Job. It's a great story. If you read through, Job has all sorts of horrible things happening to him, even after his life has been just great. And he eventually gets to the point where he questions God. He was trying not to, but he finally said, okay, God, why? And so God said, hey, man, Always here. I am the I am. It's just when Moses goes in the desert, he sees the burning bush. He talks to God. God says, "Go to Pharaoh, tell him to free my people." And Moses says, "Who do I tell him? Send me." And he says, "Tell him the I am sent you." Now, if you think about that for a second, what does it mean, the I am? I think if you really put that into some sort of context here, he's saying, I'm the one that exists. And you guys exist because of me, but I have always been, will always be. I am existence. Existence doesn't occur without me. I started it all. Now you can say that, well, that the scriptures don't, prove that. No. But here's the thing with proof. We can only base our faith and our beliefs on evidence. We don't have proof. No, not from the beginning. We can't prove the beginning. I can't prove that Moses saw the burning bush. I can't prove that something happened in history like the resurrection. I can only give you evidence of that. Same as I can't prove that John F. Kennedy was shot. I can give you evidence, photographs, eyewitnesses, film footage, his body, several things, but those are only evidences. We can't prove it, meaning we can't go back in time and redo it like an experiment. We can't pull all the pieces up here and redo it like an experiment. It has to be a scientific experiment. To be proof, has to be repeatable at any other lab around the country. We can't replay that incident. But we have to look at the evidence and draw the most reasonable conclusion. Is it then more reasonable that a non-thinking, non-deciding, non-intelligent universe or something, minuscule quantum properties, just came to be in this perfect order? You may say, it's not so perfect. It's perfect enough for us to be here. Or is it more plausible to believe that a being said, I'm going to make this happen? You're watching this video. A couple of different things have happened. One person decided to make a video. He used the technology here to create this, put this together. Then he used the technology that exists out in the world in social media to put it out here so you can see it. This didn't just happen. It's silly to say this small little nothingness thing could happen, but the big universe over there, that just came about. This needs somebody to make it. That didn't need somebody to make it. So, if you're going to believe in a God, whether it be a universe, whether it be a computer, or whether it be God, why are you living your life like one doesn't exist? Why are you saying, you're either saying, I believe universe, I believe the computer, or you're saying, I don't even know, so I'm just going to not make a decision, which is making a decision, believe it or not. I think if you be honest with yourself, here's the answer. To face that it's a God means you have to face what the God said. And if the God said, you've got to solve the sin problem, and you don't want to solve the sin problem, hey, I know, but we have to. That's what I had to come realize. I had to say, it's all about sin. If I'm questioning this, it's because I don't want the other thing to be true. It'd be so much easier, so much better if I didn't have the rules, right? I don't want rules. I'm telling you, I don't want rules. I'm a wicked man. See you next time. Shield Apologetics.